So we think the major role in calling the awareness from the multi-stakeholders. Second one, plays a major role in finding the challenges and the solutions, and also strong consultants to the decision makers, and plays a key role in establishing the infrastructure, working together with other major players, such as the government, private sectors, and so on. And also plays a key role in the data quality control and the long-term preservation. Another key player in the data mining and the data discovery. And also key player in the capacity building and education. So this is a special role of the scientific communities. I think not only one community can play all the role, but scientific community could one or important one in this process. Thank you very much. So I would like to call another presentation from the Zhou Xiang. You can on the government role from the Guizhou.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Could you please switch the presentation for second
Yeah,
presentation?
second one.
No. Second. Number 2. Oh, yes, this one. Yes, sorry. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zhou Xiang from CAST, the Chinese Association of Science and Technology. This morning, I would like to introduce some experience from China on the poverty alleviation and also environmental issue, which is the growing concern for the countries and government who pay attention to the social and economic development. So this presentation will focus on the situation in Guizhou province in the southwest of China. So the contents I introduced will be present here on behalf of my colleague from Guizhou province local government, from the Agriculture Commission of Guizhou province, Mr. Yuan Jiayu, Director General, and also Mr. Zhu Yunqiang, Assistant Director. Next, please. So, as you know, it's very important goal for the 17 goals in the 2013 SDG agenda. So the very first one is no poverty. That means end poverty in all forms, everywhere. So what China do is try to reduce the population of poverty and also taking possible measures to help the people to improve situation, especially in rural area. So you can see in 2016, the poverty incidence went down with the rapid, with the fast percentage, and also there are a lot of countries from the outside China share the Chinese experience on the poverty reduction. So next, please. So today I take Guizhou province as example. So as you know, it's mountain ranges of the southwest China, and it's very typical territorial area in China. The province has over 16% mountain land and over 13% hills, only 7% plain area. So it is largest poverty area with largest population living in the poverty in China. So it is actually the most poorest province in China. So we can see the Guizhou is one of main battlefield for China to reduce poverty. Next, please. So there is a strategic action were taken by the Guizhou local government. It's called reduce poverty, and also with the support of big data technology. And also for this very special area, they focus on the ecosystem protection. So because agriculture is very important industry for the Guizhou province, and agriculture anti-poverty is first and foremost task in Guizhou province. Next, please. So as you know, Guizhou has a very good, beautiful thing and also a very fragile ecosystem, but with very good products. The farmer has many good products after a lot of years cultivation. So very special products from this region. So for the local government, what they do is to identification the special products of different range and build a electronic transition platform for the farmer. You can see there's a lot of special products like pepper and fruit and also local tea, other crop as well. Next, please. So there are a lot of products as mentioned, but most of them attract the consumer over the country, like mushroom, tea, vegetable, poverty, and Chinese herbal medicine. So if you look at this picture, you will find this electronic system built by the government with support of multi-stakeholder like academia and the technology provider and also private sector. So they have defined the action plan for different range. That there is one domain agricultural infrastructure for one county. This is very basic range for the agricultural development within the province. Next, please. So there is a model developed for the farming market and e-commerce for the farmer. It consists of 4 components. It's with ICT technology support and also e-commerce platform and also big data and Internet Plus service. Next, please. So if you can see, the farmer can get the dedicated information on agriculture from this platform, and also they can extract information they are interested in, which will help them to improve their farming and also improve the quality of the products. The technical solution including the crop yield forecasting and also disease warning and early warning for the agriculture producing, and also this very integrated system to compare the information from all kinds of sources. Next, please. So you can see this is the diagram of the system. It operates daily, and it extracts information from farmer, from community, and also from marketing, consumer marketing, and try to link all the stakeholders in this platform. Next, please. So online store is very special concern for this kind of e-commerce platform. So including the biggest e-commerce platform like Alibaba and Jingdong in China, the local government is still trying to build a local e-commerce platform with a special concern like e-commerce cloud and agriculture economic information network and so on. So it linked the rural household, cooperatives, operator, and platform as customer in this system and provide the timely service for all the stakeholders. Next, please. So if you look at this diagram, you can find a lot of policy, technology, institution issue, like the financial service provided for the farmers, and big data service provider, technology provider, and also the finance issue, and the dedicated special service for the farmer, especially for the mountain areas. Next, please. So this page shows the information entering the rural and farmer service. It's very special project which launched by the Guizhou government. It is aimed to 2020 can cover all the administrative villager and province-wide, and also provide information for the farmer and municipal government, and also the provincial level government. Next, please. This is the example. You can see the farmer can get information from mobile service and also inquiry the agriculture policy, laws, regulation service with the support of law system. The farmer can do everything. I mean, almost everything related to their farming and also their life based on the first term. And also the platform provides the training service, which will provide dedicated information and skill for the farmer. And next, please. So I will make a short summary. What I introduced here is the solution provided by the Guizhou local government. It built a strong link and cooperation between the government, enterprise, and agricultural business entity, like farmers, like village administration, and also the private sector. So in this situation, government plays the leading roles. They provide the policy support and also institution guideline for the farmer, for the private sector, and all the people involved in this activity. And also, I want to point out, especially is the involvement of the modern information technology, like big data, like ICT, and it help improve the situation of the Guizhou, this very special area in China. As far as I know, Guizhou has become the fast-growing province in the economic development in China. Next, please. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so next we welcome this Zheng Meng from FAO, please.
Number six. Number six. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Zheng Meng. I'm the consultant of innovation and poverty reduction at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. It's an honor to be here to present big data for marrying poverty in China. Today, I will take China as an example to give you some introduction about the work we are doing there. Next, please. First, I would like to feel second to give a brief introduction about the background of the poverty reduction in China. China has lifted 700 million of people out of poverty between 1978 to 2014. Until the end of last year, there are still 43 million people living under the poverty line. According to its latest national strategy, China will eradicate extreme poverty by 2020, which is 10 years ahead of 2030 SDG goals. Next, please. So when we are talking about poverty, it is really important to how do we measure poverty? So do we measure poverty as a single measurement, such as income-based, or we measure poverty through the multidimensional measurements, including health, education, and the standard of living? Next, please. So we started 2,240 and 84 counties across China to collect the data. Next, please. We constructed a living standards index with 8 indicators. 3 are from traditional data and 5 big data. 3 traditional data indicators are access to piped water, access to sanitary toilets, access to indoor kitchen. 5 big data indicators are access to living services, access to financial services, access to roads, mobile internet coverage, and nighttime light density. Next, please. So all these maps above, we mark counties with different shade blue according to the size of each indicator. The darker blue, the greater value of the indicator, which also means the county had the better performance for that indicator. Next, please. So research findings are represented in this map using 5 different colors. Green representing the highest value, and yellow, orange. Oh, next one. It's okay. And yellow, orange, and red representing successively lower value. Gray indicates there is no available data. From this map, we can obviously to see that the counties along the eastern part of China has more access to services and amenities than western counties in China. Next, please. Rankings have been generated according to its living standard index values for all provinces and municipalities in China. The scores is ranked from the lowest score until the largest score. The number 1 ranked is the Zhejiang province. Next, please. According to the ranking, we also zoomed in to see the specific indicators values for each provinces and the municipalities. And through this exercise, we can identify for the weak points of each provinces and the municipality, and also to allow us to allocate the limited resources more precisely. And here, the green represents the highest value, and the yellow and red representing successively lower values. And as we can see, even like the top 10 provinces and municipalities, they also have the areas have the need to improve. So as we draw to the conclusion, it is to recommend it that the counties in the eastern part of China has outperformed the counties in the western part of China. And also in the central of China, the counties in the plain areas are better performed. And the western part of China is the least developed areas. And in terms of there are variations in the poor counties' living standard, which help the efforts to evaluate the provision of the services. And also, even the provinces and the municipalities with the highest overall living standard scores, but we will still see that there are areas in the lead to the improvement. As we can see, as I just shared with you now, even like top 10, there are still red bars there, which is the areas when we need to give serious consideration to for the improvement. Next, please. So if anyone wants to continue this conversation after the forum, here is my contact, zhenmeng@gmail.com. I would like to, although our research of big data is not a rock science, but it actually provides us a perspective from another angle to review and track of the poverty and development in China. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So next speaker, so would like to invite one more too. So would you have on behalf of the GEO?
The last but 2.
7.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. I would like to share the perspective from GEO, the Group on Earth Observations. It's right. Sorry. Thank you for joining us. I would like to share on behalf of the Group on Earth Observations based in Geneva here, the experience on data sharing and data management. Next, please. The Group on Earth Observation is a partnership among 105 member countries and more than 100 participating organizations. We work together to develop and implement Earth observation programs and initiatives that solve global environmental problems. Next, please. The central work of GEO is to build what we call the GEOS, Global Earth Observation System of Systems. The later systems are owned by countries. The first system is what we together to build. The GEOS, the system of systems, links observing system to strengthen monitoring of the state of the Earth. And the source of observing is from the satellite, from the ground stations, and airborne and marine-borne instruments. And why does GEOS matter? We believe that although countries have borders, but environmental issues don't have borders, and Earth observation don't have borders. So we have to work together to enhance the systems, to coordinate the systems, to provide real-time, good quality, and long-term observations to help us to solve the problems in sustainable development, in climate change, and all kinds of environmental problems. Next, please. And how we do that? And the first step is data sharing. GEO is a political forum for governments to learn from each other why we should make data open, why we should unleash the value of Earth observation. Next, please. Here is data sharing principles of a GEO. We promote data, metadata, and products sharing as the open data as the default form of GEO, to make them available as part of GEO's data core without charge, without restrictions on reuse. And we also advocate minimum restrictions on use and no more than the cost of reproduction if the national policies or regulations preclude the full data sharing. Next, please. And to do this, one work we have been constantly doing is to elaborate the value of open data sharing. So here's a research paper we have done. There are 5 categories of Earth observations: data sharing, economy, education, governance, research, innovation, and society. And I can give you an example of the big value. Next, please. So this is a slide we use very often about the Landsat data set open sharing, the value it brings after it's completely shared with the international world. Before the open data policy in 2007, the daily use of satellite, land satellite data is about 50 scenes per day. But after the open data policy, it increased dramatically. It's around 5,700 scenes per day. And through research paper, the annual economic benefit brought by this open data policy is around 2 billion per year. So this is a fundamental case. And after that, we know that the European Commission also changed their data policy, and now we have the full open access to the Sentinel data. And from this year, China also announced the open data policy to a couple of its satellites, including the new launched carbon satellite. It will be a phenomenal contribution to the climate change mitigation. Next, please. So, in addition to this political forum for negotiation or for peer learning, we also have a federated infrastructure we call the GEOS Common Infrastructure. It uses the most flexible technical framework to broker the systems contributed from member countries. So currently we have more than 160 catalogs brokered, and underpinning that, there are more than 5,000 data providers, and altogether we bring more than 400 million data and information resources. These are all open and free resources, can be utilized by international community, by everyone. Next, please. I think the next several slides are the snapshot of the infrastructure. I will go through quickly. This is a DAB. This is a back office infrastructure. Next slide, please. We allow the almost all existing standards to get them into our infrastructure. Next, please. And this is a part of this is a human interface to discover the data resources. Next, please. And we allow multi-criteria search and next visualization and download. And next, please. And so if we say the data sharing principles or the open data is more on the political side, policy side, and then we say the data management principles are the technical side of how to enable data sharing. So we have 10 principles, 5 categories of data management principles: discovery, accessibility, usability, and preservation and curation. Next, please. Let's do next. So, and in order to encourage the organization working with us to implement these principles, we recommend several levels accordance assessment. So first level is a self-assessment. The organizations can use these principles and guidelines to do self-assessment to improve their accordance. The second level is peer review. Data providers help each other to look at how conformal they have been done. The third level is certification. We recommend the organization can go to formal data management certification processes to improve. Let's do next. Next, please. And we also have some visualization tools to help our organization to do that. Next. So that's it. So that's a snapshot of what we have done, and what I haven't covered is, in addition to our infrastructure, we also have around 30 pilot projects working in different, what we call the societal benefit areas, including agriculture and food security, health, and disaster risk reduction. So the purpose of these pilot projects is making use of the free and open Earth observation data to showcase their application in these areas, how the environmental issues could be addressed. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So next panel is online. We have a professor from Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, Professor Mavru. So would you open that, PPT? So is Mavru there? Would you have, yeah? Good. No, don't work. Yeah, use this one. Yeah. Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Mauro. So maybe we can see you sometimes in face to face. Okay, thanks a lot. So next speaker. So Zhou Xiang, would you introduce another remote panel?
Ricardo, are you online? Are you with us?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, please go ahead for your presentation. Thank you.
You change the next one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. So next one.
Okay.
So we have
So,
also the online-
yes, we have next speaker, Mr. Ni Weiping. He is the Vice Chairman of Commonwealth Science and Technology Academy for Science, India. He will introduce us practice and experience on poverty alleviation and also environmental protection in aspect of India. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much.
Is it PPT there?
Yes.
Just you have to put the captions up
Thank you very much.
because they can speak
Firstly,
up.
I'm
Just
honored to be here and
open this one.
make this
Open this one.
presentation of the international class big data
Then play.
for alleviation and environmental protection in India,
I don't know how to.
and also represent the chairman and Dr. Kennedy, as he's not being able to be here, but I represent him and to make this presentation and to share our methodology and framework using internet and the big data technology to support the activities of poverty alleviation and environmental protection. Thank you. So the next slide, please. Microphone, could you please switch on the microphone?
Yes.
This one. Okay. Sorry. Hear me? Okay. Is that okay? Okay, great. Okay. So today's topic is around the framework and the methodology of the internet plus and big data for poverty alleviation and environmental protection in India. I make this introduction and for sharing and exchanging ideas with all the participants. So the next slide, please. Okay. So I think it's everybody know India is the country with the second largest population around the world, but is a country also with the poverty issue and environmental issue, which is well known by all the parties across the world. So in terms of poverty, although India is also a very, very large economy body and it's growing very fast as a developing country, but the average GDP per person per capita is only about $2,000, and the gap between the rich people and the poverty is getting huge. There's 100 billion people who have little access to the education, to the healthcare and other public resources, which is helping them to support their daily life and to support their possibility to be away from the poverty. And of course, the root of the cause is much about the people living in poverty. They really have little access to the modern technology and the infrastructure, so it's very important for them to earn an opportunity to improve their situation. And about environmental issue, also, India is having very serious the pollution issue in terms of the air quality, in terms of the water pollution. So every year the India government has to spend 1,000 billion Indian rupees improving the pollution issues, improving the situation. And of course, that brings a huge pressure on the GDP growth, because the country has to spend about 6%. It's around 5.7%, nearly 6% of GDP on the environmental issue control and improvement. And of course, the food issue is also a kind of the environmental issue that India is facing today. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the strategy, the framework we're going to use for this poverty alleviation and the environmental issue control is we want to go for 4 steps. We do it step by step. As we know, the key issue for the people in poverty is they really have little chance to change their situation. So the step is we need to give them the equal opportunity. So the step 1 is we're giving the infrastructure to them. Actually in today's modern world, the people needs to get equal education, get equal opportunity in terms of healthcare and employment. So the first step is let people to have the infrastructure, they have the equipment to access to the resource, the modern resource and modern technologies. And the second step is we need to build up the low-cost internet access for them, and using the low-cost internet access to grant access to the people in poverty, to access to the knowledge, to access to the online resources around the education, around the financial aid, around the healthcare, also around the employment. And of course, and the step 3 will be like the certain percent of the financial aid. But of course, the last step is public resource. As the people in the poverty, they need to earn the equal opportunity. So the equal opportunity, which also means they also have the equal access to the public resources, like healthcare, like employment, everything. Okay, next slide, please. So what we're doing today in India is, the last year we have already giving around 6 to 7 million of the mobile phone to the people living in poverty. Okay, and we support financially. We support them every month 100 Indian rupee to use their mobile phone services. So basically, the people in poverty start to getting the infrastructure, getting the equipment to help doing their to gain the resources online. And also of course India is a very big country. There's a lot of area, the poor region, the poor areas, they have little access to the internet. So what we're doing is we encourage the national telecom to cover more remote areas in the poverty, and providing the low cost of internet access. And what we are doing around the pollution is pollution control is we use the automatic detection technology and PM 2.5, PM10, and other pollution parcels. And then we base on the detection data, we base on the monitoring, and the India government is able to set the policy based on the detection result, based on the detection the report, to make sure that every penny dollar we spend on the pollution control and the environmental protection is going to be great, is going to be the best ROI, the return on investment like. And also, we will setting up some the public index about the pollution. So basically, that's the showing the status, the current status, the showing the root of the cause of the water pollution and air pollution. So basically, we we use that way to supervise the these behavior, these action, which is going to bring the negative effects on the water pollution. So we encourage the people, not just the government, but the whole social group, the whole social group, and the enterprise, the individual, and to take action against the industrial pollution, and to take action on the protection of the natural environment. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so of course it's really a long way. So the first step is we need to give the people access. That's about the infrastructure. That's about the internet access, and so this is going to be the step one. But afterwards we have a lot of things we need to do. So the future, we're gonna create a future platform for the poverty alleviation. So after the step one, when the people, they have the access to the internet, when they have the basic equipment like a mobile phone, computer, or tablet, and so we're gonna get the support from the society, from the government, and to mostly the support is around donating the server storage or the gaining the special financial aid to build up the cloud center to support our online platform running. And on top of the platform, so we can build up the more aid programs and activities to support the poverty alleviation. And of course, and on top of the platform, we are able to using the big data technology to study and analyze the root of the cause of the poverty and precisely locate the population in the poverty. And the step three, we open access to the whole society, the enterprise, the government, and even not just limited to India, to the worldwide. And to for the donation and aiders, and to be honest, it's there's a we have already spoken to the several enterprise, including the company like the Solinese, including the company like Hewlett Packard, and there, so basically, and they have a lot of equipment, who will be retired in 3 or 4 years, So we and we have LOI, like the intention letter with them, and to gain the support from them, and they will donating these devices, this equipment. So we will have that kind of the donation and aid to support us to build up these facilities and resources for the people in living in poverty. And on top of that, so we can put a lot of programs around the financial aiders, also the online education and healthcare, And I think the education and healthcare is also going to be very tough for the people living in poverty, especially when the government, have a very limited budget to deal with this situation. So we will use some online resources, which is much more effective and productive and cost-effective, and to deliver the education and healthcare, and to the people who stay remotely in the poverty cities or regions. And the final step is we encourage to offering the employment, the equal opportunity to them, to help them to get off the poverty and completely by themselves. So what we're doing is we're not just giving them money and giving the financial, giving the food, but we're creating the opportunity, creating the chance for them to get out of the poverty. Next slide, please. Okay. So the overall, there will be 3 steps. So for the environmental protection, also the step 1 is we build up more infrastructure, and we put more sensors to gather the data. And to enrich the data import of the environmental parameters, and the second step, we use the big data to analyze the raw data to understand what is the environmental issue is, and what is the root of the cause to cause this issue, right? So and we, of course we granted some access to the to the public, to the report and the index. Basically that's for supervision, because the environmental protection is a kind of the responsibility of every human being in this world, every individual, every enterprise, every government. It's not just one people or one government or one company's responsibility. So we put it in that way, is like a social responsibility. Okay, so the last step, of course, we will have a lot of measures. We will put measures and to take action against the environment pollution, and also take the positive policy and activities on the environmental improvement and protection. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so we have already put an action plan, but due to the time framing limitation, I'm not be able to to share too much details in such short time. But in general, we already had a plan. And we will seeking for the UN support and to have more members enrolled in our program, and creating more positive influence and support the programs. And of course, then we will creating the entity and to support the implementation and operation of the plan, and then gaining the financial aid and the policy support from the government, and to establish the platform online. And finally, of course, we will develop and port the aid programs online for the execution. And we will have the people, we will have the individual, we will have the government and the entity, enterprise across the country, even all over the world, to support the success of the plan execution. Next slide. Please, next one. Okay. So due to the time frame limitation, so I would like to share my contacts with all the participants, and I would be happy to receive any more inquiries or the question from you by email. And here I represent Dr. Kennedy, which is the chairman of the Commonwealth Science and Technology Academy for Research, and to say thanks to every participant, and we'll be very welcome to all of you, and for any further discussion and partnership or the collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for work. Okay, thank you very much. So now we have time to have discussions. Any questions for you? Please. So your name, your organization, and the question.
Mr. Iftikhar Shah from Ministry of IT, Government of Pakistan. Thank you very much. It's a very good presentation on basically on the infrastructure, particularly big data, for the protection of environment. There is my question to Wing Pong. What are your recommendations regarding the creation of big data? Because, in developing countries, currently all the databases for the provision of the services to their citizens by the government are working in silo. There are distributed databases, and there is a less chance of big data in next decade. But it is very important for the government to provide the citizen services, particularly the protection of environment, to mitigate the issues. So what are your recommendations that developing countries, how they create the big data for the provision of the services to their citizens, particularly for the protection of environment? Thank you.
Okay, so any...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, it's a, I'm not joking, but all it's really about the regulation and money. Okay. Okay, so I think number one is government should positively set the regulation and the law to support the plan, support the activity. Secondly, the gaining the support from the social group, from the enterprise is going to be very important. So actually, India has the very similar issue. The budget can be used to do the activities to execute the plans for the environmental protection or the pollution control is going to be very limited. Okay, so what we're doing is we encourage, we get a policy support, we set a regulation, and we speak to the enterprise, you know, and there's a lot of the local company, also the foreign company invested in India. And so we speak to the enterprise, speak to the social group to encourage them to donate the equipment, the infrastructure equipment, so we can gain more resources to build up the platform for the big data and for the database. And of course, you know, as you write, you know, there are too many data sources across the whole country, right? And so I think, you know, from the regulation perspective, government should support. And secondly is you really need independent infrastructure to gaining the data sourcing and storing the data in your database. So there's a middleware which is transforming the data from the multiple data sourcing. Of course, these data sourcing going to be in different places, also in different maybe format. So you need a middleware, and you need a bigger system to transforming this data into your local database. So, but of course, the prerequisite you need a regulation in place, and you need the support and from the enterprise and the society, and of course, and you need this infrastructure and a system in place at first. So it's going to be a very long-term plan, which takes many years' effort. So what we're doing today, as you say, we start from the infrastructure, and then we step by step. We're going to go through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4.
Thank you. So, any other questions? And we have a remote question. So you have that?
Yeah. We have a.
Yeah.
Yes. We have remote questions. How can different sources of data effectively promote local development and reduce poverty?
Okay. Anyone can answer this question? Go ahead.
Yes, I think when I talk about the information extraction from different sources, we want to analyze the needs from the people who live in the poverty area. I think that means a network for the information collection. Not only things of Internet of Things, but also the social network to calculate the people living in the rural area to use information service to involve the engagement of mobile communication and the farming information service. That means we need not only to promote the usage of mobile service, all kinds of information technology, but also we need a platform. It's a common platform which can encourage the information communication of all kinds of information, which is useful for the rural people to get information for their make living and for their promote their products, and also everything, not only about the working, farming, and also the life to improve their life quality. That means that we have provide the quality information for them that requires strong support of government at the very beginning stage. Okay, that's my understanding. Thank you.
Good. So any other questions? So for this, this is really is a big topic, a big data, internet, big data governance. Really big, is a big topic. It's complicated and difficult. It's not only internet, not only big data, but internet plus big data. So this is a new thing, new challenging comes. So we, as a geo representative, this gives the geo data sharing principles. We have also have the core data issue they have data sharing principles. But how we implement about the data sharing principles? So I think we need a guideline. Like the question from Nepal said, how can benefit the local, the data local, benefit the local people? I think that's one thing. We are not a very good infrastructure. So we need infrastructure, like your question said. We need the infrastructure. And not everybody know how to use this, how use the data. Very few people understand the data is there, but different people use the same data, but different products. So the ability is different. So we need, in developing countries, we need a capacity building. So this is truly. So another things, because the different places have a different situation, so we may learn from somebody else. So in that case, we should show cases to learn somebody else, to share the experience. So how to show the examples, how to show the best practices, this is another issue. Of course, we need the internet plus big data security. Someone, they developed a tool. They like animal. They just take the data, automatically use their tool. But something is illegally. But of course, we need international law. We need the regulation to how to security, how to protect the intellectual property, to make sure the data is useful and security and benefit both data creator and the data user. So all these kind of things, it's just the very beginning. Everything is challenging. A new issue comes. So I think we need a guideline. So that is, we are working on the guideline for the data implementation, data sharing principles. So we developed the data sharing principles in developing countries in 2014. But the year before last year, we have a workshop in Mexico on how to make the guide and let people easily to follow and to get the benefit from the big data. So that meeting, we focus on the challenges. What challenges we are meet. And then last year, we have a similar meeting in in Russia, in which city? St. Petersburg, yes, thank you. We are in St. Petersburg, in Russia. We have that meeting, we are focused on the content. What content of the guideline should have? So what we need? But this meeting, we focus on the players, stakeholders. What the different roles in different stakeholders? Here, we have scientific communities, we have international organizations, we have private sectors, we have government sectors. We are also universities. So all different players. So what's the role? How we can work together and play the different role, and then focus on we can benefit the local people and reaching sustainable development goals. So we are very happy for this year. Next year we are 15 years, I think. VCS plus 15. Yeah? I think 2003 in Geneva VCS and here. So next year is 15 years. So after this meeting, so I would keep you content, and then we will have a series of activities, training programs, and workshops, and then online or offline meetings. So focus on the guideline. So if you are interested in that, please sign your name in the sheet. We have a paper, so you sign your name, your contact information, and then I will keep you contacted, and then we work together. So, yeah, and then last year we have a training program in China, in Madagascar, and next year we will have Nepal, and also we in the African, which country? We will date week. Botswana, yeah, in Botswana. And then we also will have in World Data Forum, second World Data Forum, United Nations, in Tibet. So all these kinds of works, we are really want you to be involved, to join us, and keep the several years. Big data, since this is a difficult things, but we keep several years. Then we can, I definitely believe we can get fruit. So since the year of 2002, the co-data task group in developing countries established. And more than 50 years, so we work hard on this. But now we have it's an international team. So from China, South Africa, Brazil, Cuba, and many countries, India, and many countries, they got benefit, and also want to expand this group, including you. And if you are not, I know you are very busy, but if you are not available to directly join this, but I would like you to introduce your country colleagues to join us. Okay, so any other questions, comments? Everybody had 1 minute to have a conclusion. 1 minute.
Well, my role at NGO is trying to promote open data. And I would say for developing countries, it's actually very useful to make use of the open data already available around the world. So it really means that it's you don't have to create your own. You can make use of the data created by others, harness them, and use them to tackle the problem you have. And the second point is that actually in developing countries, I think big data is not the biggest problem. The infrastructure is the problem. And I think need governments to increase the investment on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So as a UN, I think we have the SDGs for 2030 we need to achieve. It's a big challenge. And in my view, that big data will give us, it is an effective tool for us to achieve that goal. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. I still want to put emphasis on the multi-stakeholder methodology. At national level, it built a strong link between the different organizations and also different community. As today's example, the farmers, the private sector, the local governments, and also e-commerce service provider, I think it will be a good practice for all the country. And also internationally, the multi-stakeholder engagement will help us to exchange ideas and sharing experience in different countries according to the similar situation. I think that's really helpful to avoid the problem that we have encountered in the similar situation. So that's very helpful. We can do it together in the future work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now that we have very successful workshop, and now I announce this workshop closed. Thank you. 合影嘞，谢谢啊，thank you，谢谢。周翔，我们合个影吧，来。到院儿
谢谢你今天帮我带那个，真的是解我燃眉之急，江湖救急。
正好还那个于老师给我发的还挺及时的，因为
对，
我正好要出门了，然后就给我发了这个信息。
因为我正好倒时差，然后就早上起来特别早，然后一看完了，然后我就说这个不行啊，必须得解决。太好了，谢谢。
哎，你们做的那个就是做的那个，你们是就是那个热量的指标